What if $1,800 a month was actually enough to retire on? Mortgage paid, groceries covered, property taxes handled, a little left over for gas and the occasional meal out. Most Canadians would laugh at that number. In Toronto, it doesn't touch a one-bedroom. In Vancouver, it barely covers parking fees. But there are towns in Canada where the combined OAS and GIS payment covers your entire cost of living, and almost nobody is talking about them. In this video, we will break down these 10 towns where your government pension actually has a huge purchasing power. But before we start, like this video and subscribe to our channel to receive the latest updates on Canada's real estate market. Number 1. Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia. In 1981, this was unbroken northern BC wilderness when the provincial government carved an entire town out of the Rockies for coal, streets on cleared land, a high school built before there were kids to fill it. The population hit nearly 3,900 by 1984. Then, world coal prices dropped and Tumbler Ridge learned what every single industry town eventually learns. The resource doesn't care about your mortgage. Today, the population sits around 2,400, so you can find homes in the $100,000 to $150,000 range. A pensioner with a paid-off home has over $1,000 left every month after shelter costs. The town has a health center, RCMP, fire services, and charter airport access. But what the listings won't show, Tumbler Ridge sits inside a UNESCO Global Geopark. Dinosaur trackways, waterfalls, dramatic hiking, and essentially zero crowds. But the catch is that January temperatures regularly drop well below -20 degrees Celsius. The nearest full-service city is 3 hours away, and the town's fate is still tied to coal. But for a retiree who doesn't need employment, I think that uncertainty matters a lot less than it sounds. Number 2. Hearst, Ontario. Nearly 94% of Hearst residents speak French as their mother tongue. This isn't a community near the Ottawa Valley, it's a town of about 4,800 people nearly 1,000 kilometers north of Toronto, shaped by generations of Northern Ontario forestry culture. Monthly shelter costs for a homeowner with a paid-off home can fall between $600 and $800, and that's considered very cheap for sure. The town has a hospital, a hockey arena, and a small francophone university. The population has been drifting down about 5% between censuses. For an economist, alarming. For a retiree hunting affordability, an opening. But winters here are the kind that freeze your eyelashes shut. The nearest major center is Timmins, which is 3 hours away. And if you don't speak French, you won't be excluded, but you will be the outsider. Number 3. Flin Flon, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. A town named after a fictional character from a 1905 pulp novel, though, straddling two provincial borders, literally. The boundary runs through the city. Residents in one neighborhood pay Manitoba taxes, neighbors a few blocks over file in Saskatchewan. It functions despite the bureaucratic absurdity of its own geography. Average household values sat around $131,600, less than half the median for either province. 3-bedroom homes list well under $100,000, some in the $60,000 to $80,000 range. A pensioner on full OAS and GIS could purchase a home outright after a few years of saving and never carry a mortgage again. They got a hospital there, scheduled flights to Winnipeg, and some of the best walleye fishing in the country. But here's what nobody skips telling you. Food costs here score a 2 out of 10. Everything is trucked in. Your housing will be cheap, but your groceries will not. Budget accordingly, and keep in mind the economy still anchors around mining, and when it contracts, the town contracts fast. Number 4. Minto, New Brunswick. About 50 kilometers northeast of Fredericton, there's a former coal community of around 2,200 offers something rare, a village-level costs with capital city access 40 minutes away. That means a regional hospital, specialists, an airport, and big box retail that are all reachable for a day trip without paying city prices to live near any of it. New Brunswick also runs one of the more generous property tax regimes in the country, with senior-specific relief programs on top. The last mine closed in 2010. Some light industry moved in, while others stayed because this is home. What the listing won't mention is that New Brunswick has the lowest median household income of any province, and the local service economy is fragile. Every person who leaves makes it harder for the pharmacy and the hardware store to stay open. That's a slow-moving risk worth knowing before you fall in love with the price tag. Number 5. Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. 3 disasters happened there. In 1891, a mine explosion killed 125 miners. Back in 1956, another blast killed 39. In 1958, an underground upheaval while 174 men worked below killed 75 and trapped the rest in a rescue operation broadcast live on CBC, one of the first major international events covered by live television. The mines never reopened till this day, though. Population now around 2,650, cost of living about 10% below the national average, and homes available under $100,000, sometimes well under. For a pensioner on OAS and GIS, the math works with room to spare. Here's the part that surprises everyone. Those abandoned mine shafts, some reaching over 14,000 feet, are now flooded with groundwater that holds a constant warm temperature year-round. Since the late 1980s, businesses in the industrial park have been tapping that water through heat pump systems to slash heating costs. The industry that nearly destroyed Spring Hill may end up being what powers its future. That's totally crazy because almost nobody is talking about it. Number 6. Espanola, Ontario. In 2023, the most recent operator idled operations indefinitely. By early 2024, roughly 450 workers were laid off. A brownfield developer has signed an acquisition agreement, but the future is unresolved. This is the reality of Northern Ontario mill towns, and dressing it up would be doing you no favors. But 3-bedroom bungalows there sits in the $130,000 to $180,000 range, while monthly ownership costs below $1,000. You will find a regional hospital in town, Sudbury for specialist care, and one thing rarely mentioned, Espanola is the gateway to Manitoulin Island, which is the world's largest freshwater island, just 1 hour away. Beaches, hiking, and island communities that look like postcards, without Manitoulin's inflated waterfront prices. You just need a budget of $300 to $500 monthly on heating costs, and you will get the furnace inspected before signing. Number 7. Elliott Lake, Ontario. This is definitely the most deliberate retirement experiment in Canadian history, and almost nobody knows the full story. Built for uranium in the 1950s, the population may have hit 25,000 at its peak, and when the uranium market collapsed in the 1990s, the town cratered. So the municipal government rebranded. They declared Elliott Lake Jewel in the Wilderness, launched campaigns targeting Toronto retirees priced out of the city, built senior-focused condos, and actively recruited people to move north. It worked partially, and hopefully the town survived. Population today around 11,300, and homes under $100,000 still exist. The median age is among the highest in the province. In practice, this is already a retirement community. Dozens of lakes within the municipal boundary, and it's very excellent for hiking and fishing. But here is the catch. The 2012 Algo Center mall collapse, which killed 2 people when the rooftop parking structure gave way, raised serious questions about infrastructure maintenance. The local economy is thin, the winter isolation is obviously real, but thousands of retirees have already made this bet, and most of them stay. Number 8. Pincher Creek, Alberta. 3 hours south of Calgary, where the Rockies slam into the prairies, modest homes list closer to $200,000 and no provincial sales tax. You can go to Waterton Lakes National Park, which is genuinely spectacular and severely undervisited. It's only 45 minutes south. The Crow's Nest Pass funnels Chinook winds with enough force to rattle windows and rearrange things not bolted down. Wind farm investment has made the area economically sturdier, but the winds are relentless. Temperature swings of 30 degrees in a single afternoon sound fine until your sinuses, blood pressure, and joints are all filing a protest at once. That's insane. But for retirees managing chronic conditions, that barometric roller coaster is a genuine quality of life factor. Number 9. Grand Falls, Windsor, Newfoundland. This is the largest town on this list at roughly 14,400 people, and the most surprising comeback. The paper mill that ran this town for a century closed in 2009. The town should have collapsed, but instead it pivoted. Healthcare, government services, retail, tourism. Central Health is now the largest employer. The town has a regional hospital, a Walmart, multiple grocery stores, a college campus, and real civic infrastructure. Serviceable homes are in the range of $150,000 to $200,000. And what's crazy is that the province offers a heating rebate for low-income seniors. But here's the honest flag. You are on an island. The drive to St. John's is 4 hours. The nearest ferry is 5. Newfoundland has the oldest population in Canada, the lowest birth rate, and persistent outmigration. A retiree arriving at 65 might have a beautiful decade here for sure, but somebody arriving at 45 should think longer about whether the infrastructure keeps pace with their aging. Number 10. Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. A main street that looks like a Western film set because it's been used as one. Heritage buildings from the old 1880s, homes in the $80,000 to $150,000 range, and some are even lower. A retiree on full OAS and GIS could live here mortgage-free with money left over each month. The Cypress Hills sit nearby, a forested highland rising out of flat prairie, one of the darkest night skies in the country, silence that makes your ears ring. Cypress Hills Interprovincial Park holds a Dark Sky Preserve designation, but unfortunately there is no full hospital in town, so serious medical needs mean Medicine Hat, about an hour west, or Swift Current, 90 minutes east. Maple Creek isn't trying to be modern. It has decided what it is and settled into it. So if that sounds like stagnation, just look elsewhere. If it sounds like peace, this is definitely your town. These 10 towns are in 6 different provinces. Home prices from well under $100,000 to the low $300,000 and $1,800 a month in government pension can cover a real life and a paid-off home. But here's the structural truth. These towns are affordable because Canada has spent decades concentrating investment in urban corridors while allowing rural communities to slowly lose people. The same forces that make Toronto unaffordable make Elliott Lake, for example, a bargain. So these aren't separate problems, they're the same problem, but viewed from opposite ends. The question isn't just whether you can afford to live there, it's whether you can adopt there. And that takes research, a visit, and an honest conversation about what you actually need to feel at home. So take your full time to research each town discussed in this video verifully, and this will definitely make a huge difference to actually pursue a comfortable life there. Remember that affordability is only one part of the equation. Now, be honest, would you live in any of these 10 towns? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to know more about the latest Canada housing news. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.